This is what my skin looked like 1 year ago, and this is what it looks like now. I was able to completely cure my acne despite failing with skincare over and over again. The reason most people stay stuck with acne is not because acne is hard to treat. It's because they keep using products that aren't targeting what is actually causing the acne. Acne is actually stupidly easy to treat once you start using products that target the real causes. And in this video, I'll show you exactly what cleared my acne, the treatments I tried before that failed and why they failed, how acne actually works so you can better understand it, what I would do if I had to start over again knowing what I know now, and how you can treat persistent acne properly instead of wasting years on random products and wasting all of your money. Now, as a quick disclaimer, this is educational and is not medical advice, and you should always consult a professional before taking action, especially since the strongest acne treatments are prescription grade and need to be managed by a medical professional. So first, I'll start with the exact protocol I used because this is what actually cleared my skin. So my doctor prescribed 100 milligrams of oral doxycycline per day for 90 days, Cabtrio topical treatment, which is this product here, which included 1.2% clindamycin, which is an antibacterial, 0.15% adapalene, which is a third generation retinoid, and 3.1% benzoyl peroxide, which is antimicrobial. Alongside these active ingredients, I also used CeraVe tub moisturizer because I wanted a little bit of a thicker hydration when I was using the topicals, and I used CeraVe light face wash. During the treatment, because I was using an oral antibiotic, it did cause some gut irritation. So to manage this, I used Fluorastor, which is a yeast strain that you can take to promote gut health, and it's typically used when you're taking an oral antibiotic. Now, after the inflammation cleared, I still had a bit of redness called post-inflammatory erythema. So to speed up the recovery of this, I used 10% niacinamide serum, which is vitamin B3, and a sunscreen since UV damage prolongs the recovery for post-inflammatory erythema. And then also after I finished the treatment, I continued using the topicals for the maintenance. The main inflammation took about 3 months to clear, and the redness that persisted after took about 4 months. Now, before we go over how acne works, if you prefer to skip right to personalized and professional help, I do offer face analysis and consultation where I go into detail of everything you can do to improve your looks, including skincare, and you can find that linked below. So, how does acne work? Acne is actually very well understood in dermatology, and it usually follows a basic process. Overactive sebaceous glands due to a hormonal trigger or a genetic predisposition. Then the too much oil from the overactive sebaceous glands causes clogged pores. Then Cutibacterium acnes, which is a bacteria found on your skin, feeds on the oil and multiplies. Then the immune system increases inflammation to deal with the bacteria. And then the inflammation creates the redness, the swelling, and the unpleasant look. In order to manage acne, you need to target at least one of these steps, and if you really want to cure it, you need to target multiple steps at once. And that's exactly why prescription treatment worked better than commercial skincare, for me at least, because it wasn't just cleaning my face, it was targeting the oil, the bacteria, the clogged pores, and the inflammation all at once. Now, the treatment I just described was prescribed to me by my doctor, but before I went to get that treatment, I tried many different cope treatments, and I failed with a lot of these different treatments. These included retinol, salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide, sulfur, and even those popular Korean skincare products. All of these products failed for me, and the reason is that they either did not target enough of the acne process, they weren't strong enough for my acne, or they were not used inside a complete protocol. And this is the exact cycle that people fall into. They keep buying one random product at a time, hoping that the next cleanser or the next serum or the next moisturizer is finally going to be the thing that fixes it. But if your acne is persistent, inflammatory, basic skincare is not going to be enough. So if I could go back to before I started treatment and do it differently based on what I know now, I would have just gone on Accutane. And I would have gone on it a lot sooner than I started the other treatments that I did. The reasons being that Accutane targets the main driver of acne, which is sebaceous gland activity. It also has a very high long-term success rate, and compared to the other treatment protocols I was doing, it's really simple. Like, it's literally just taking one pill every day. Now, I do know that Accutane does have side effects like joint soreness, wound healing, dryness, and a few other side effects that need medical monitoring, mostly liver enzyme balance. But despite the side effects, I do think the trade-offs can be worth it for people with stubborn acne. As looks maxers, we know how important looks are. And acne is one thing that is pretty much guaranteed to ruin your looks. I had bad acne from 15 to 17, and it wasn't until I went to a doctor and got prescription grade treatments that I was finally able to get it cleared. So I basically lost years of my life to acne. Now, I can't tell you exactly how much better those years would have been had I not had it, but what I do know is that having clear skin would have made a massive difference. And that sort of brings me to my point about the hard truth of acne. For persistent inflammatory acne, over-the-counter skincare is not going to be enough. Skincare brands can sell helpful support products, but the treatments that are going to do most of the work are going to be prescription grade. And in order to access those, you need to go to someone who has a medical license who is able to prescribe them. The best place to go is going to be a dermatology clinic. The next best place will be a general doctor. However, if you can, it's going to be better to go to a dermatology clinic because not all general doctors are allowed to prescribe certain skincare treatments. And I do know that in certain areas, the referral process inside hospitals can take multiple months. Also, different clinics and doctors are going to have different levels of tolerance for prescribing stronger treatments. So if you go to one and they're not willing to take your acne seriously, it would be a good idea to go to multiple places in order to get multiple opinions. And even if you don't do Accutane, there are still other medical grade topicals like adapalene, tretinoin, trifaterone that can all be highly effective when used properly. Now, one point I want to make is even though I used antibiotics, I wouldn't rely on antibiotics alone because the relapse risk is pretty high, especially if you don't have a maintenance plan alongside it. And even for me, I probably would have relapsed had I not continued the topical treatments afterward. And even though I was continuing them, there is still a chance of relapse. And another thing that's problematic about antibiotics is antibiotic resistance. So if you were to get an infection later in your life and you need a certain antibiotic to treat it, but because you took it already for your acne and you developed a resistant strain of bacteria, so that the antibiotic no longer is able to treat the infection, then that can be a little bit problematic. So that's just something that doctors tend to try and avoid, which can make getting antibiotics a little bit more difficult for something like acne. So to wrap everything up, acne is caused by a multi-step process involving oil, clogged pores, bacteria, and inflammation. To treat it properly, you need a protocol that targets multiple parts of that process. Commercial skincare usually fails because it either is weak or it's incomplete. It doesn't target every step of that process. Prescription grade treatments are what finally cleared my skin because they were able to target all those steps with enough intensity. The best move if you want to get clear skin is to consult with a dermatology clinic or a medical professional instead of wasting your time and money trying to do it yourself. And lastly, the ROI of clear skin is absolutely worth the effort of booking appointments and following through with the protocol that they give you. And lastly, as a reminder, if you want a professional looks consultation so you're able to understand your looks at a very deep level, know exactly who to talk to and what questions to ask, you can visit my school group to find more details linked in the description.